The ballroom fell silent the moment silver blood hit the marble floor. I watched it pool beneath my palm, luminescent, impossible, as every wolf in the hall turned to stare. The false Luna, Serafina, stood frozen with the ceremonial blade still raised. Her perfectly painted lips formed a small O of shock. Behind her, Alpha King Darius rose from his throne, his expression shifting from boredom to something that looked like horror. "No," he breathed. "It can't be." But it was. After 23 years of hiding, of scrubbing floors and keeping my head down, my secret was spilling across the palace floor in glowing rivulets that caught the chandelier light like liquid stars. 3 days earlier, I'd been invisible. Move, Omega. The command came with a sharp shove that sent my cleaning bucket clattering across the corridor. Serafina swept past in a cloud of jasmine perfume, her ladies-in-waiting following like ducklings. She didn't even glance back. I knelt to gather the scattered brushes, my knees soaking in soapy water. This was my life. 23 years old and nothing to show for it, but calloused hands and the smallest room in the servants' quarters. "You're bleeding," someone said. I looked down. My palm had caught on the bucket's edge, split open in a thin line. I quickly closed my fist, panic spiking through my chest. "It's nothing," I said quickly, too quickly. The cook's assistant, Mara, was already walking away. She hadn't seen. She never really looked at me anyway. In the safety of my room, I unwrapped my hand over the wash basin. The cut was already healing, the skin knitting together faster than it should. And in the moment before it closed completely, I saw what I'd spent my whole life hiding. The faintest shimmer of silver. I dumped the water, scrubbed the basin 3 times, and wrapped my hand in a clean cloth. My mother's last words echoed in my memory. "Never let them see you bleed, Celeste." Never. She died protecting the secret. Died protecting me. The next morning, head housekeeper Margot assigned me to the ballroom. The Luna bonding ceremony is in 2 days. Every surface will shine, or you'll find yourself without a position. Understood? Yes, ma'am. The ceremony would make Serafina's position official. Alpha King Darius's chosen mate, Luna of the Crescent Moon Kingdom. Never mind that the bond hadn't actually manifested. Never mind the rumors that Darius had chosen her for her powerful family connections rather than any moon-blessed connection. I'd seen them together exactly once, when I'd delivered wine to his study. He'd looked at her the way one might look at a useful piece of furniture. She'd looked at him like he was a crown she intended to wear. I spent 16 hours polishing that ballroom until my reflection stared back from every surface. The crystal chandeliers, the marble floors, the gold-inlaid columns. All of it gleaming for a ceremony celebrating a bond one instinctively knew was false. Real mate bonds were sacred, my mother had told me. You'll know it when it happens, little star. Like recognizing a part of yourself you didn't know was missing. The ceremony began at moonrise. I watched from the servants' alcove as the kingdom's elite gathered in their finest silks. Serafina wore white, her blonde hair woven with pearls. She looked like every storybook Luna ever imagined. Darius looked magnificent and miserable in equal measure. His dark hair was pulled back, revealing the sharp angles of his face. Power radiated from him in ways that made even the strongest alphas in the room shift uncomfortably. He was 28 and had ruled for 5 years with an iron fist and absolutely no warmth. The high priestess began the ceremony, her voice carrying across the hall. Under the full moon's witness, we gather to bless this bond. That's when I smelled it. Pine and winter frost, and something wild that made my wolf surge forward for the first time in years. The sensation nearly drove me to my knees. Every instinct screamed at me to move closer, to find the source, to my eyes met Darius's across the crowded ballroom. His nostrils flared. His entire body went rigid. No, this couldn't be happening. I stumbled backward into the servants' corridor, my heart hammering against my ribs. But I could still feel it. A golden thread pulling tight between us, undeniable and ancient and absolutely catastrophic. The bride will now offer her palm for the binding, the priestess announced. I should have run. Should have grabbed my few belongings and disappeared into the night. Instead, I watched through the alcove as Serafina offered her hand and Darius raised the ceremonial blade. The cut was symbolic, a few drops of blood to seal the bond that supposedly already existed. But when Serafina cried out, clutching her hand dramatically, something in me snapped. "She's injured," someone called. The blade slipped. It hadn't slipped. I'd seen the deliberate flick of her wrist, The way she deepened the cut for sympathy. Someone help her. Seraphina's mother pushed forward. Where are the servants? You Omega. She was pointing at me. Fetch bandages. Now, I moved on autopilot, crossing the ballroom floor with my head down. But Seraphina grabbed my wrist as I approached, her grip vicious. Too slow, she hissed. Then louder. This clumsy Omega bumped me. She made it worse. She wrenched the blade from the priestess and slashed at my outstretched hand before I could pull away. The pain was bright and sharp. Blood welled up, dripped down, splashed against the white marble. Silver blood, glowing like moonlight made liquid. Celestial born, someone whispered. Darius vaulted off the dais, moving faster than I'd ever seen anyone move. But he was too late. I was already running. I made it 3 corridors before he caught me. Darius's hand closed around my wrist, not the bleeding one, and the contact sent lightning up my arm. The mate bond roared to life, undeniable and overwhelming. My wolf, dormant for so long, surged forward with a howl of recognition. Let me go, I gasped, trying to pull away even as every cell in my body screamed to move closer. You're celestial born. His voice was raw with something between wonder and accusation. How long have you been in my palace? 3 years. Please, I need to. 3 years. He repeated it like a curse. 3 years you've been here, and you didn't tell me? I finally looked at him fully. His silver eyes, the mark of the royal bloodline, were wide with shock. And something else. Something that looked like devastation. Tell you what, I demanded, fear making me sharp. That I'm an Omega with dangerous blood working in your kitchens? Why would I paint a target on my back? Because you're my mate. The words hung between us, undeniable now. The bond pulsed with each heartbeat, golden and fierce. You were about to bond with Seraphina, I said. In case you forgot, that was happening about 2 minutes ago. He flinched. That wasn't a real bond. No, it was a political arrangement. I know. I yanked my wrist from his grip, cradling my bleeding hand against my chest. The cut was already healing, but silver still stained my skin. And I won't be your inconvenient complication. Footsteps thundered toward us. Guards, nobles, probably Seraphina herself. Darius moved between me and a corridor, his body a wall of protection. I won't let them hurt you. You don't even know me. I know enough. His jaw tightened. Celestial-born wolves haven't existed for 200 years. The bloodline was supposed to be extinct. My mother was very good at hiding. She died when I was 7, protecting me from people who wanted to study celestial blood. Use it. I met his eyes. I won't be used, Alpha King. Not by anyone. The first guard rounded the corner. Darius held up one hand, and the man froze. You found her. Seraphina's voice cut through the tension like a knife. She appeared in a rustle of white silk, her hand dramatically bandaged, her face a mask of concern. Thank the goddess. That poor, confused Omega. She must have been terrified by the accident. It wasn't an accident, I said quietly. Of course it was. Seraphina's smile didn't reach her eyes. You bumped me, the blade slipped. These things happen. She turned to Darius, placing her unbandaged hand on his arm. We should continue the ceremony once I'm properly treated. Unless you want to disgrace both our families over spilled blood. The threat was clear. Seraphina came from the most powerful pack in the Eastern Territories. Breaking the arrangement would mean political disaster. Darius looked at her hand on his arm, then at me. I saw the calculation in his eyes, the weight of kingship pressing down. Go, I said softly. Finish your ceremony. Celeste, that's not your decision. He turned to the guards. Escort Celeste to the East Wing. Desk quarters. Post sentries. No one enters without my explicit permission. The East Wing. Seraphina's voice rose. That's for visiting dignitaries, not servants. She's not a servant anymore. Darius's tone left no room for argument. She's under royal protection. The next 3 hours passed in a blur. The guest quarters were larger than the entire servants' wing combined. Guards stood at attention outside my door. A healer came, examined my hand, now completely healed, and left looking pale and shaken. I sat on a bed softer than clouds and tried to process what had happened. Mate bond, the Alpha King, celestial blood. Any one of those things should have been impossible. A knock at the door. Enter. I called, expecting another healer. It was Mara, carrying a tray of food. Her eyes were huge. Everyone's talking about you. They're saying you're celestial born. I know. She set the tray down with shaking hands. The ceremony finished. The king and Lady Seraphina are officially bonded. The words hit like a physical blow. The mate bond writhed in my chest, angry and confused. How could he bond with someone else when? It's political, Mara continued quickly. Everyone knows it, but the kingdom needed the alliance. The Eastern Pacts were threatening to withdraw support. I pressed my hand to my chest, trying to breathe through the pain. It doesn't matter. I'm leaving as soon as possible. You can't. Mara glanced at the door, lowering her voice. I overheard the council. They're calling an emergency session about you. About what you are. What I am is none of their concern. They think your blood could heal the blight. I froze. What? The blight in the Northern Territories. It's killing the forests, poisoning the water. They've tried everything. Mara's expression was apologetic. Celestial blood is supposed to be pure magic. If even a little could cure the land. They want to bleed me. The realization settled like ice in my stomach. Like livestock. I don't know. But Celeste, you should run. Tonight. Before they decide. She was right. I knew she was right. But when I reached for the window, the mate bond pulled tight, making me gasp. I could feel Darius somewhere in the palace. His frustration, his anger, his conflict. The bond was new but growing stronger by the hour. The door opened without warning. Darius stood there, still in his ceremonial robes. A thin gold band circled his ring finger now, the outward symbol of his bond with Seraphina. We need to talk, he said. Your wife might object. His expression darkened. That bond is ink and words. This, he gestured between us, is real. The moon doesn't make mistakes. The moon gave you a mate you can't claim and a political bond you can't break. Seems like a mistake to me. He stepped inside, and the guards pulled the door closed behind him. We were alone. The council wants access to your blood, he said. To study it. Use it to heal the blight. So I've heard. I told them no. I searched his face for the lie, but found none. Why? Because you're not a resource. You're a person. He stopped himself. You deserve protection, not exploitation. Pretty words from a king who just pledged himself to another woman. I did what I had to do to keep this kingdom stable. His control cracked. Do you think I wanted this? Do you think I wanted to stand there and bond with someone I feel nothing for while my actual mate was bleeding in my ballroom? The raw pain in his voice matched what I felt through the bond. Then reject me. I said. Officially sever the mate bond. Set us both free. He looked at me like I'd suggested he cut out his own heart. I can't. You mean you won't? Celeste! A scream cut through the night. Then another. Shouts of alarm rose from the lower floors. Darius was out the door in seconds, me right behind him despite the guards' protests. We raced through corridors toward the commotion. We found the source in the ballroom. Seraphina lay on the floor, convulsing. Black veins spread from her bandaged hand up her arm like poison. The high priestess knelt beside her, chanting healing prayers that did nothing. What happened? Darius demanded. The blade, the priestess gasped. It was meant for ceremonial cuts only, but it touched celestial blood first, and then hers. The mixing, it's toxic to her. All eyes turned to me. I didn't know, I said. I didn't do this on purpose. But Seraphina's mother was already screaming. She poisoned my daughter. Arrest her. Execute her. Guards moved toward me. Darius stepped between us again, but there were too many. Please, Seraphina whispered from the floor, her face gray. Please help me. She was dying, and everyone in this room thought it was my fault. Move aside, Your Majesty. The captain of the guard's voice was steady but firm. The Omega must be detained. She hasn't committed a crime, Darius said, but I could hear the uncertainty creeping in. The political calculation. I made the decision for him. I'll help her. The words came out stronger than I felt. My blood caused this. Maybe it can fix it too. Absolutely not. Darius turned to me, eyes blazing. You don't know what it will do. Neither do you. But she's dying, and I won't have that on my conscience. I pushed past him before he could stop me, kneeling beside Seraphina. Up close, she looked terrible, skin like parchment, breath coming in shallow gasps. The black veins had reached her shoulder. This might hurt, I told her. She managed a nod, fear stark in her eyes. I unwrapped my already healed hand and pressed my thumb against the cut on her palm, the one the priestess had bandaged. The moment my skin touched hers, silver light erupted between us. Seraphina screamed. The black veins writhed like living things, retreating from the light. I held on even as power poured out of me in waves, even as my vision started to blur. That's enough. Darius grabbed my shoulders, trying to pull me away. Not yet. I could feel it. The poison fighting the celestial magic. Two ancient forces in conflict. If I let go now, Serafina would die. Just a little more. The last black vein dissolved. Serafina's eyes fluttered open, clear and whole. I collapsed. When I woke, sunlight streamed through windows I didn't recognize. My head rested on a pillow that smelled like pine and winter frost. Darius's scent. I jerked upright. He sat in a chair beside the bed, watching me with an expression I couldn't read. "You've been unconscious for 2 days," he said quietly. "Serafina? Fully recovered. She and her family left this morning. The bond is dissolved." I stared at him. What? The high priestess declared it void. The bond was never genuine, and the poisoning proved the moon didn't bless it. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "She also said that celestial blood responding to save Serafina's life was a sign that you're meant for something greater than hiding in servants' quarters." "What did you say?" I said she was right. He reached for my hand, carefully, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. I handled everything wrong, Celeste. I was so focused on duty and politics that I almost missed what matters. "And what's that?" "You. The bond. The fact that the moon gave me a mate who's brave enough to risk herself for someone who tried to hurt her. Who's been surviving alone since she was 7 years old." His thumb traced circles on my palm. "I'm asking you to stay. Not as a servant or a prisoner or a resource. As my mate. My equal. My Luna." I wanted to say yes. The bond sang with the rightness of it. But years of hiding, of being dismissed, couldn't be erased in a moment. "I don't know how to be a Luna," I said. "I don't know politics or diplomacy or, compassion. Courage. You saved Serafina when you could have let her die and solved your problem." He smiled slightly. "Besides, I have advisors for politics. What I need is someone who reminds me that power without heart is just tyranny. The council won't accept an Omega Luna. The council will accept what their king tells them to accept. And if they don't, we'll change the council." His expression turned serious. "I won't lie to you. This won't be easy. There will be wolves who challenge you, who think celestial blood makes you either sacred or dangerous. But I will stand beside you through all of it. If you'll have me." I looked at our joined hands, his scarred from battle, mine healed by celestial magic. Two people who shouldn't fit together, but somehow did. "My mother spent her whole life running," I said. "She died because she was too afraid to trust anyone with the truth. I don't want to live like that." "Then don't. Stay. Fight. Build something better." I squeezed his hand. "On one condition." "Name it." "The blight in the northern territories. I want to try to heal it. Not because the council demands it, but because I choose to. Because if I have this power, I should use it for something good." Darius's expression filled with something that looked like awe. "You're remarkable. You know that." "I'm terrified." "That too. But we'll figure it out together." He leaned in slowly, giving me every chance to pull away. When his lips met mine, the mate bond ignited like a star. Everything else fell away. The politics, the danger, the uncertainty. For one perfect moment, there was only this. The Alpha King and his celestial-born mate. Two halves of an impossible whole. When we finally broke apart, I was smiling. "So," I said, "do Lunas still have to polish ballrooms? Or is that beneath my station now?" His laugh was startled and genuine. "I think we can assign that to someone else." "Pity. I'd gotten quite good at it." He kissed me again, softer this time. "I love you. I know it's too soon to say it, but I do." "It's not too soon." I pressed my forehead to his. The bond knew before we did. 3 months later, I stood in that same ballroom for my Luna ceremony. This time, I wore the white silk and pearls. This time, when the ceremonial blade drew blood, it glowed silver for all to see. "The moon has blessed this bond," the high priestess declared. "Behold your Luna, Celeste, the celestial-born, the healer of the blight, beloved of the Alpha King." The kingdom roared its approval. Darius took my hand, raised it high. Through our bond, I felt his pride, his love, his absolute certainty that this was right. I'd spent 23 years hiding what I was. Now I would spend the rest of my life proving that celestial blood didn't make me a target or a resource. It made me exactly who I was meant to be. The false Luna had cut me, hoping to expose a secret. Instead, she'd reveal the destiny, and I was ready to claim it.